Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Course Creation Mama podcast. I am your host, Lindsay Bowden, and I have my online business manager joining me today, Emily, and we are going to talk about my worst launch in like 4 years. So, which sounds really terrible, but honestly, it wasn't that bad, and we'll get into that. But according to the data, which is what I look at, the lowest conversion rate that I have seen in 4 years, and kind of what happened from that, the changes that we are going to be making, and all the things. So, welcome, Emily. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So, just to kind of give you the overview of what we did for this launch, this is for my signature program, Hey Online Course, where I teach people how to create and launch their own online course or membership. And we did our typical launch, which is a challenge. So, we're going to have some episodes in the future about exactly how we launch and our launch plan. But just to give you a quick overview for this episode, we always do a 3 or 4 day challenge. And the challenge part is once they watch a video from me, either live or pre-recorded, they have some type of action step. So for this challenge, it was really simple action steps. Sometimes I'll just have something like, drop a GIF once you've watched the video, or drop an emoji. And it just gives people, kind of skin in the game. Like, it's not just watch this video, but it's do something after you watch the video, and it just gets people more involved typically. Um, so we did a 3 day challenge. What else am I missing? I know we do a Facebook group every time. Our challenges are a lot, so it's hard to go into every detail and do a launch debrief all in one episode, but just to give you
Yeah.
an overview.
Yeah, so there's a pop-up Facebook group where anyone who's participating in the challenge can go and, like you said, do those action steps so that they can show us they've completed whatever it is you've asked them to do. And that Facebook group also has like other types of engagement posts where they can kind of get to know the other people participating and see that you're real and not a robot, and it just kind of helps everyone, like you said, get a little more skin in the game and really feel like they're participating in something.
Yes, and I've been doing challenges for my teacher business since 2020, I think was the first, or maybe, yeah, 2020 was the first challenge I did in the fall, or late or winter. And it works really well with that course because that course is a skills-based course. So I'm teaching teachers how to make resources. And so they're actually following along with me through each day of the challenge. And each day I just teach them like a little part of the resource. And then they watch the video and make the resource on their own computer. And then, the challenge might be show us a screenshot of what you created today. And then by the end of the challenge, they have a complete resource made. And that works amazingly well for my teacher business. I still run that same challenge, and it brings in, 6-figure launches. So for this course business, I'm really not teaching a skill, but I'm teaching more of an idea and mindset shifts. So we thought for this challenge that we would really focus on the mindset shifts that people need to make before they join a program about creating a course. So Emily and I sat down and brainstormed, kind of what are people struggling with before they're ready to commit to a program.
Yeah, because your audience really is people in the very beginning stages of their online course business. And so we wanted to really focus on how do we more or less convince them that they can do it, because they're not actually doing it yet. And so that was kind of where we were coming from, thinking about that mindset shift.
Yeah, and so we actually had a launch earlier in the year where we did teach a skill. We taught people how to build an email list. And I think that it went well, but it was overwhelming for people. It was almost too much.
Yeah.
And so we
Hmm.
really thought, okay, so maybe shifting from teaching a skill, like starting an email list, to more of that mindset shift. And let's see how that converts. And I honestly, I'm not giving up on the mindset shifting kind of challenge. I think that it will work. I think there was
Mhm.
other factors that contributed to this low conversion rate, which we'll talk about. So anyway, that's what we did. Just to give you an idea of what we taught each day. We taught about how to find time to create a course, because that's always a big mindset shift that people need to make. That's always a big limiting belief that people have. I don't have enough time to create a course. So then I talked about in that video how to carve out time in your day. And their challenge was, list out some times during the day where you can work on your business. Or, another one might be, I don't really believe that you can make money from a course. And so I talked about kind of how you can predict your profit with a course. And we went through the math of that, because it's really just a math equation to find out how much you can earn. So anyway, I liked the idea of the mindset shifts. We got good feedback on that part. So let's talk about kind of what we saw that didn't go well from this launch. So I think the time of year was one factor. October is busy. And we saw a change in how much of the video people were watching, or even like, were people watching the videos at all? So I did pre-recorded videos this time. It wasn't like a live, and we didn't have a great watch rate for the videos. So I think that could be a lot of things. It could be maybe we need to find sexier titles for each day of the challenge. Maybe people weren't really interested in what the days were, or maybe it was the time of year. People were just busy. I am seeing a shift towards more one video, like a webinar, but not even the webinars that you see out there that are like an hour long, but like 20 to 30 minute webinars. And if you can convey the value of your program in 20 to 30 minutes, that's all people really need. Yeah, just the videos, we had trouble with getting people to actually watch them.
And if you can't get people to participate, then you're never going to get them to purchase. Like, they have to see the value in what you're offering before they're going to trust you and give you their money.
Right. And this is just something that we're going to continue to test. So I'm not going to say don't do a challenge. I know that challenges still work because I'm doing them in my other business. It's just test and see what works for your audience and your niche. Try a challenge, try a webinar. There's lots of different things that you can test. Try it live versus pre-recorded. I've tried both live and pre-recorded, and I didn't really see a big difference. But some people do. Some people are all about it has to be live because of the energy and all of that, which I get. I just didn't personally experience that.
Yeah.
It's hard to do live too with all the different time zones and people working, especially with my audience. Most of my audience, they still have a full-time job. So they can't come to a webinar in the middle of the day when I'm working. I'm not going to be doing a live webinar at night because I want to be with my family. So pre-recorded works better for me.
Yeah. And you also have people in other time zones, on other continents. Like, there's just no way that even if you were willing to do something later at night, like, then it's the middle of the night for people in the UK, like, so you're never going to accommodate everyone with a live version of what you're doing. So the pre-recorded really is just more flexible for everyone.
Right, right. Okay, so now that you kind of know what our challenge was about and how we ran the challenge, let's talk about the data, because I love when people tell me all the data and are super transparent. So we're not going to gatekeep here. So the challenge ran from October 6th through October the 8th. And we had 1,329 people sign up for this challenge. And out of those, 900 people joined the pop-up Facebook group, which is actually a really good percentage. You're never going to have 100 people join the Facebook group, but I was really excited about having those 900 people in the group. You want people in the Facebook group because this is a new group with lots of engagement, and every time they open their Facebook app on their phone, they're going to see your group posts at the top of their feed. So that's why I do a pop-up group. Let's see. I did run ads for this launch to get people to join the challenge, and I spent $5,063.17 on ads. So about $5 per lead, which is not terrible. I've gotten a lot higher, but I've also gotten lower depending on what I'm running the ad for and my niche. So for my teacher business, ads are a lot cheaper than that. For a B2B type business to business, your ad spend is going to be a little more just because you have a lot more competition. Let's see some other statistics. So as far as challenge signups, I got 75% of the challenge signups from ads. So 25% came from people that were already on my list. 75% came from ads, so new people. So that does tell me a lot of these people might have been a cold audience. So it might take them a little longer to join a program like this because they don't know me yet. And just because they don't join now doesn't mean they might not join in the future. I've had people do challenges like 4 times with me and then join, which is crazy.
Yeah, yeah, it takes, I mean, especially with something that's a financial investment, it takes time. And, you don't necessarily go out and purchase like a new computer or a new, something like that. You might kind of shop around and just see what you like the best before you fully commit. So, like you said, you're not giving up on them, and showing them that you're consistent with what you offer by continuing to offer challenges in the future will also help with that.
Yeah, and there's so many different types of buyers out there too. I'm a impulse buyer, so I know immediately, yes, I'm buying this or no, I'm not. My husband is like a long game type. Like he will research for months before he buys something. So he probably wouldn't have purchased during this launch, but maybe it would take him a couple launches to purchase. So um that's always something to keep in mind when you're doing a live launch. Just because they don't purchase now doesn't mean you wasted that money on ad spend or wasted that time with organic marketing. They could buy in the future. Okay, so continuing with our data. So my email list, let's talk about email list size because that's always important. Before starting this launch, my email list was about 8,200 people, which is a good size. And once we started the challenge, I hit a little over 9,000 just because of these new people that were joining my list for the challenge. And the total amount of sales that we got was 17. So we got 12 people who paid in full, which was $897. And then we got the other people paid for the payment plan. And our payment plan for this launch was 6 payments of $197. So honestly, I am not super upset about the amount of income that we earned. We didn't lose money, which is always great. We made about 11K. What concerned me was the conversion rate was low. So the conversion rate for this launch, which is how many people purchased divided by how many people signed up for the challenge, was 1.3%. And if you look at my total email list, it would be even less than that. But I always calculate conversion rate just based on the people in the challenge. So 1.3% is typically what I'll see in like an evergreen type launch, not a live launch. I'm used to seeing at least 4%. I've even had all the way up to 10, 11, 12% with my teacher business. So when I saw that, it was alarming to me. And I was like, okay, Emily, we need to sit
We need to
down
sit down.
and figure out like what the heck is going on. So
Yeah.
yeah, I always want to survey my audience after a launch to see what can we improve, what can we do better. But for this launch in particular, because I saw such a low conversion rate, I really wanted to think about, is what we're offering the best for who we're offering it to, for my audience? Is this what people want? Is it accessible to people? Kind of what is going on here?
Right. You're all about, your whole business is around serving people. And when you see something like that, like you said, you were still profitable. It wasn't failed per se. Like we even talked about like, what do we name this podcast? And failed was the first word we came up with, but we were like, that's not what happened. It wasn't a failure, but it just, like you said, was concerning that obviously there's people that are interested in what you're doing because they're signing up for your email list, they're signing up for the challenge, they're participating in the challenge, but then there's something that's happening between there and taking the next step. And so you want to figure out how you can serve your audience the best.
Yes. So the best way we have found to figure out kind of what our audience is thinking is we send them a why didn't you buy email a few days after a cart closes. And it's a quick 1-question survey in Google Forms. And we basically say, can you just let us know why you didn't buy? It'll help us make decisions for the future. And we give them like a list of options. So the options could be, and you'll have to help me out with this, Emily, but the course
Too
is
expensive.
expensive.
I don't have enough time. I found another course, something to that effect.
This
It's too advanced.
too advanced or too easy. Yep.
Yep. Um, I think there's a couple more, but things of that nature, just kind of like, I guess what we would see to be the most common reasons people wouldn't purchase. And then if it was something different, they do have the chance to comment. Like we leave a box that they can comment if it's something completely different, but usually it falls into one of those categories. I think we also put time of year, like it's just a bad time of year for me.
Or I
And we
think
had,
is like I want to purchase, but maybe in the future. So it just wasn't the right
right,
now.
right.
So that always gives us a lot of feedback, especially when people like leave comments and explain, further what they're thinking. And the overwhelming majority for this launch was the price. People were saying,
Yeah.
I literally can't afford this. And we even saw in our group, people were saying, I want this so bad, but my family literally cannot make it work. And Emily and I started talking, and I was telling her, I not necessarily in my group, but I'm in a lot of moms groups in my area. And I see more posts from moms than I ever have before asking for help with groceries and gas and just basic needs. So this economy is terrible right now. And
Yeah.
to not take that factor into consideration as a business owner seems like a really terrible move and
Yeah.
um inconsiderate move.
Yeah.
People are
That's
literally
a really good word.
buying gas and groceries, or
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
they can't rent, they can't find jobs. So you know the economy, I knew the economy was going to play a factor into this launch. I just didn't realize like how much until we got
Yeah.
that survey back, and I was thinking like, wow, people want this program, they just literally cannot afford it.
Yeah, I think it was like 90% of the people who filled it out said that price was a factor. And that's a hefty amount of people saying that. So, um, yeah, like you said, there's just people are having to make choices right now. And it, most of the choices they're having to make aren't up for debate. Like
Right.
they have to buy groceries. They have to. They have to they have to have gas in their car so that they can get to work. And even though like in particular this course offers a transformation to where financial freedom is that's the outcome. If you can't if you can't bridge that gap, like where these are the people we want, the people who are struggling, the people who we know they have something to offer and we just need to help them monetize it. Like that's who we want participating in this. But obviously we can't ask them to not pay their electric bill this month so that they can,
Right.
it's it became really, really clear that that was something that we had to consider.
Yeah, and I see a lot of course gurus who will say, it's never the price, it's the offer. It's your offer isn't irresistible enough. And I think that was true back in like 2020 when people were buying courses like crazy and they had extra time, they probably had extra money from government incentives if you're in the US. And it's just not like that anymore. And I'm not saying that if we kept the price the same, I'm sure we would continue to get sales. But
Right.
are we really making our program accessible to the people that we want to make it accessible to? And my audience in particular is typically moms who are either a stay-at-home mom, so they don't have extra income, or maybe they have a 9 to 5. But obviously, if they're looking for a way to make extra money, then they're struggling with money right now. And they're in the
Right.
beginning stages of their business, so they don't have other sources of income. So to set a price that is, not reachable for them just doesn't make sense to me business wise. And as like a good person, like to be generous,
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
I always strive to be is to be generous. And it doesn't seem like the way I structured my program was doing that, I guess.
Yeah.
So Emily and I sat down and we, kind of read through all the comments. We talked about how we could restructure the program to still give a great transformation while also making it accessible to people. And I really just kept getting this phrase in my head, radical and accessible. And I don't know, it just kept like replaying in my head. I want my program to be radical and accessible. And to me, that meant a radical pricing structure that no one else is really doing. So if you just Google courses about creating a course, you're going to find a lot. And typically they're $1,000 minimum. Some are 2,000, some are 3,000. It depends on, kind of how big that person is, how long they've been doing this. I haven't really seen any less than $1,000. I wanted to do kind of the opposite of that and, really make sure that we were practicing what we're preaching, which is actually helping people with our business and not just trying
Yeah.
to make money off of people.
Yeah.
Emily, do you have anything to
No,
add?
I mean, I think that's just been, like you said, it's just been kind of the focus the last few weeks for what we've been doing. And it always comes back to serving, and how you can impact the most people and feel good about it, like you said, if we kept doing everything the same, it's very likely you would still continue to make sales and be profitable as a business, but you wouldn't be reaching nearly the amount of people that you would want to be, or maybe not even the amount, but the audience that you want. Like, you want to help people who were in your situation at one point, where they're trying to find a way to make a change and be able to spend more time with their families and be more generous, like you're trying to be right now. And if you're not getting the right people, then that's not what your business is going to do. And so that's really been the focus. How do we get to the people that we're trying to reach and, be as generous as possible?
Yeah. So we really kind of thought about what we wanted to do. I didn't want to just slash the price and keep everything else the same because that isn't fair to the people that have already trusted me and, bought this program. So we
Right.
really talked about changing the program from a, one-time course purchase to more of a membership model where people are getting monthly coaching calls and more hand holding from us, and they're paying a monthly fee. And the reason I thought that might work better is because if people just buy it one time and they get lifetime access, then psychologically they may think, well, I can just get to this course whenever. I'm just going to put it on my course shelf and forget about it. And then they never get the result, even if they've paid a higher price. Whereas a membership model, if they pay monthly, that fee is coming out every month. It reminds them, oh yeah, I need to get in there, watch the videos, take action, get the result. But we didn't want it to be like an outrageous monthly price either, because then that defeats the point of being radical and accessible. So
Right.
we really thought about, how do we want to structure the price to make this membership, profitable for us, because it's still a business. This is how I support my family. We are a one income household. I wanted to make sure that it was going to work in that sense, while also allowing people to join at a reasonable rate. And also, I feel like some people just want to get their toes wet, but they're not ready to make a huge commitment. And maybe they don't know if course creation is right for them. So maybe they want to join, see if it's the right fit. And if it's not, they're not locked into the super high price. And to be completely honest, I don't know if we're going to keep this forever. Like, this is a test. Everything we do in our business is a science experiment. And we are testing this out to see if this allows people to join, and get a transformation at an accessible price. And if it doesn't work, we'll try something else. So don't listen to people who are like, oh, don't change the price, or, if people can't afford your program, then you're not attracting the right people. I don't always believe that's true. Maybe you want to attract people who are beginners, and that's okay. That's okay to attract people who
Yeah.
maybe can't afford some high ticket program. So that's kind of what we're thinking right now. We won't go into all the details because we are releasing this new pricing structure over Black Friday weekend, actually, and we are super excited about that. But anything else you want to add, Emily, about our new kind of structure for the membership?
Yeah, I think I mean, everything you said is so true. And just because it will be a lower entry point for people doesn't mean that, as from a business standpoint, doesn't mean that you will make less money. The hope would be that people would see the value in it and that they would remain in it for as long as we do it. And um, I mean, maybe you would even make more money in the long run if it's something that's valuable. So that's just another thing that, we've just to consider, that right now you may not get like this giant influx of money like you would from a pay in full option, but the goal is always to provide value and to show people that what we're doing is worth investing in. So that's, something else that we're kind of hoping people will, like you said, kind of get their toes wet, see if they like it, and the people who do like it will stick with us.
Right. Right. And online course creation is such an ongoing process. So some people might join and get the result in 3 months if they follow kind of the program that we have laid out. That's kind of what we designed it for, was 3 months. And if you can get the result in 3 months, amazing. I don't want this to be a program that you need forever. However,
Right.
course creation is an ongoing process. So maybe you launch and then maybe you launch again and something doesn't work. Well, you have access to us via coaching calls in a Facebook group. So it's something where the support is there if people need it. But if someone can just kind of DIY it and watch the videos and get the result on their own, it works for them too. So that's really what we wanted to do. And I'm excited. I'm really excited to open this up and kind of see how it works. And if people are, interested in this new kind of pricing structure that really no other course creation program is doing that I've seen.
It is
So
exciting.
yeah,
We'll find out.
we are pumped. We have put a lot of work into this. So that is basically the gist of this launch. We kind of told you, what we did for the launch, the data, how it wasn't a failure of a launch, but it was just a lower conversion rate. So how we are restructuring and listening to our audience and being true to my values and beliefs as a business owner, as someone that actually wants to help people and help people that are in the beginning and not really making money, or they might not have extra money yet, how we can, change this program to make it radical and accessible and really transformational. So we're excited. If you want all the information about this, we are releasing the new pricing structure for Hey Online Course over Black Friday weekend. It will only be available for that weekend because this is a test. We are testing this to see if this works. So if you want to get all the information, make sure you're on my email list. You can get on my email list now by heading to meetthebowdens.com/list. We will send you a list of 100 profitable online course ideas, and you'll be the first to know about this new awesome program that we have put together. So yeah.
Yay.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Emily, so much for chatting about the launch. And we
Of
hope you
course.
guys will get on our list. If price has been an issue for you in the past with joining a program, we hope that our new program will make it accessible for you. And we will see you guys next week.